You're listening to the Retro Mo Podcast. I'm your host, Mo, and I love to play and review old video games and a few new games too. If you prefer to read instead of listen, check out my written reviews at retromo.substack.com. In this episode, I'll be sharing my experience with The Elder Scrolls Online for the PC, released in 2014. I've scored this game 5 out of 10. A meh game. Another MMO I really tried to like, but just couldn't. Quick disclaimer, I'm not an MMO fan. I try to be fair, but if you're an MMO gamer, you're better off skipping this review and just trying out Elder Scrolls Online for yourself. After giving Fallout 76 a shot, which I did garner some enjoyment from, I figured I'd give Elder Scrolls Online a chance too. Bethesda's mainline Elder Scrolls and Fallout games are my cup of tea. Immersive, story-driven RPG adventures with high-quality quest lines that draw you in and won't let you go. MMOs often lack important key ingredients like immersion and truly captivating story content. The primary goal for MMO developers is to create as much content as possible, as quickly as possible, to keep players or subscribers playing for as long as possible. Because that's the business model. And because of this, MMOs feel much less like a proper RPG and more like an endless, low to mid quality content sandbox. Fostering social interaction with online friends is really the priority. You simply just need something to do in the game world. It doesn't necessarily have to be interesting, or at least as interesting as a single-player narrative-focused game. As much as I love Tamriel and the Elder Scrolls world, and as much as I earnestly try to give Elder Scrolls Online the old college try, I didn't really find my time in Elder Scrolls Online to be even remotely interesting. The dull combat is the worst offender here. The brief excitement of equipping 2 daggers and unlocking the dual-wield skill tree wears off almost immediately when you discover in the tutorial that every enemy is just an HP sponge that does almost no damage to you whatsoever. I think I lasted about 7 hours in Elder Scrolls Online. I made it to level 12, and at no point did I ever drop below 75% of my total HP. I never used any healing items because I didn't need them, and the complete and utter lack of any challenge makes this one of the most boring solo RPG experiences ever. There's no sense of progress or advancement, because you are always way overpowered. This is not what I experienced solo leveling through World of Warcraft, for example. I did enjoy exploring some of the Warden class spells, including summoning a bear companion to follow you around, but spamming spells over and over again against enemies that posed no challenge whatsoever just became the dullest of chores. I never used the healing or shield spells because, again, I just never needed them. Perhaps, as is the case with most MMOs, these spells may be needed in the more difficult endgame content, dungeons, raids, veteran trials, etc. However, the endgame doesn't really open up until you hit level 50, which is an 80-plus hour task for casual players to get to that point. So the question is, can you handle 80 hours of dull questing just to get to the good stuff? I do appreciate that Elder Scrolls Online is a fully voiced MMO, and this is quite a feat. It's worthy of accolade. Every single quest-giving NPC is voice acted, and most of the voice acting is at least decent, or better, though I did notice a few performances that were just a bit off. The real issue is the monotonous quest design. There are a few interesting bits of story here and there, but the majority of the questing puts you in the classic fetch quest doldrums. Go here, get this, go there, get that. I'd say around 70% of my time in Elder Scrolls Online was spent running from location to location. And this is not fun. It makes me wonder, why do people play MMOs? There is absolutely no depth to these quests or characters. After 7 hours in this game, I can't name one memorable character. I didn't experience one memorable quest There's no sense of progress. There's no sense of discovery that you find in Skyrim. Sometimes I wonder if MMO players should just hop on chat with their friends. It doesn't matter what they're doing. If the content in the game isn't really that engaging, why play? On a positive note, the gorgeous 3D environments you get to traverse are a true strength of the game. It's great to see a variety of locations in Tamriel. This is really the only thing that kept me going for as long as I did. So if all you're looking for in a game is something to do with your friends while exploring a well-crafted 3D fantasy environment, then maybe Elder Scrolls Online will be a good time for you. For me, the 3D environment alone was just not enough to hold my interest. The soundtrack from Brad Derrick is solid. It doesn't reach the heights of the other soundtracks from the Elder Scrolls series, or Einon Zur's work in the Fallout series, but there's a few nice tracks. And Derrick has composed a lot of music for Elder Scrolls Online. So many tracks. Much of this music is functional and serves its purpose, but not exceptional per se. Nothing stuck out to me as notable. Some of these tracks slip into what you might describe as generic fantasy game music. In spite of not capturing a particularly unique or memorable sound, the soundtrack is still a strength of the game, I think. If you like the Elder Scrolls universe and are just looking for a casual MMO to play with friends, this may be a good fit for you. If you're a single-player gamer with the patience to sift through hundreds of hours of mediocre content to find a few morsels of Elder Scrolls goodness, then power to you. But otherwise, if you're like me, go ahead and skip this one. Thanks for listening to the Retro Mo podcast. As always, I do my best to keep all of my content spoiler-free and rated E for everyone. If you find this podcast enjoyable or helpful, tell a friend and consider giving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. If you have questions or comments, you can send an email to retromopodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Godspeed.